Jackie Chan doesn't raise his voice when he knows he's right. He's learned that loudness invites ego. Calmness invites reckoning. Shanghai, early 2000s. The city is in the middle of becoming something new. Steel cranes line the skyline like punctuation marks. Roads are rerouted overnight. Buildings rise faster than plans can keep up. There's ambition everywhere, visible, audible, relentless. The film is meant to capture that. Speed, scale, momentum, and that urgency has seeped into everything. The set occupies a converted industrial complex on the outskirts of the city. Old concrete floors, temporary steel scaffolding, platforms bolted together just long enough to survive the shoot. Cables snake across the ground. Spotlights hum. Radios crackle non-stop. Everyone is moving fast. Too fast. Jackie arrives before most of the cast. He always does. Not to control, to observe. He walks the space alone first, hands behind his back, eyes scanning without drama. He notes the distance between platforms, the way the scaffolding flexes when a crew member climbs it, the slight unevenness of the concrete that no camera will ever notice. But bodies will. The director arrives surrounded by assistants. Young, highly praised, confident in a way that only early success allows. This project is his step into the global conversation. He knows it. Everyone knows it. That pressure sits on his shoulders, and it pushes him forward instead of slowing him down. They greet each other politely, respectfully, but not equally. The scene planned for the day is a centerpiece. A chase through the interior of the warehouse that ends with a vertical escape. Jackie sprinting across unstable platforms, climbing scaffolding, leaping to a suspended ladder, then dropping through a breakaway floor below. On paper, it's spectacular. In reality, it's fragile. The director explains the vision with energy. We wanted to feel breathless, he says. No pauses. No resets. The audience should feel like they're falling with him. Jackie listens. Not. Momentum is familiar territory. The stunt coordinator steps in carefully. We've mapped safer transitions, he says, pointing to a diagram. We can cut here, here, and here without losing the illusion. The director waves a hand dismissively. We'll lose intensity, he says. I want continuity. Jackie still doesn't speak. They walk the route together. Jackie moves slowly, deliberately. He presses his foot against a platform and feels it shift slightly. Barely noticeable, but enough. He looks up, then down, then back at the coordinator. How long would it take to reinforce this? Jackie asks quietly. The coordinator hesitates. To do it right, he says. A full day. The director laughs. We don't have a full day. Jackie nods. I know, he says. Rehearsals begin. No cameras. Just bodies moving through space. The younger stunt performers are eager. They rush transitions, cutting corners to match the speed the director wants. One slips slightly but recovers. The director claps. Good, he says. That's the energy. Jackie frowns. Just a little. They reset. Try again. This time a platform creaks. Audibly. The coordinator stiffens. Jackie raises a hand. Stop, he says. Not loud. Firm. The director exhales sharply. What now? He asks. This section isn't stable, Jackie says, pointing. The director shakes his head. We tested it. Jackie looks at him. When? He asks. The director glances at the coordinator. Yesterday, the coordinator says. Jackie nods. And today, Jackie says. The humidity is higher. The load is different. The director scoffs. This is filmmaking, he says. We adapt. Jackie meets his eyes. Not with people, he replies. A few crew members exchange glances. The room hasn't gone silent yet, but it's listening. The director steps closer, lowering his voice. You're overthinking this, he says. You were hired to act. Let me worry about the rest. The words are casual, but they land like a slap. Jackie doesn't react immediately. He looks around instead. At the younger stunt performers who are pretending not to listen. At the coordinator who's stuck between loyalty and authority. At the crew members who know exactly what's at stake but won't say it. If we run this as planned, Jackie says calmly, someone will get hurt. The director laughs. You can't predict that. Jackie nods. You're right, he says. I can't predict who. Only that it will happen. The director folds his arms. This production accepts risk, he says. Everyone here knows that. Jackie steps closer now. Just enough. There's a difference, Jackie says, between accepting risk and ignoring warning. The radios go quiet. Someone shuts off a fan. The set feels suddenly smaller. The director looks around and realizes everyone is watching. This isn't just a disagreement anymore. It's a challenge. You're slowing us down, the director says sharply. Jackie nods. Yes, he says. I am. The director turns away. We roll in 5, he announces. Positions. No one moves. The coordinator looks at Jackie, then at the director, then back at Jackie. Jackie meets his eyes and shakes his head. Once. I won't do it, Jackie says. The words are soft, but absolute. The director turns back slowly. You won't what? I won't run the scene, Jackie repeats. Not like this. The silence that follows is total. No radios. No footsteps. No pretending. You're refusing? The director asks. Jackie nods. Yes. The director's face tightens. You don't get to make that call. Jackie doesn't raise his voice. I do when it involves my body, he says. And theirs. He gestures toward the stunt team. The director looks to the producer. The producer looks at the schedule, the budget, the clock. Everything says this should not be happening. You're undermining my authority, the director snaps. Jackie considers that. Maybe, he says. Or maybe I'm protecting you from a different kind of failure. That lands hard. And if I replace you? The director asks. That's the real threat. The one everyone feels. Jackie looks at the set one last time. At the unstable platform. At the young stunt performer closest to it. At the future version of this day that ends in sirens instead of silence. Then replace me, Jackie says. No one breathes. Finally, the director turns away. Shut it down, he snaps. 10 minutes. The crew exhales in waves. Movement returns cautiously. Jackie steps aside. He hasn't won. Not yet. And he knows this decision will follow him far beyond this warehouse. Because challenging a director on a Shanghai set isn't just about safety. It's about power, reputation, and whether the industry believes restraint is strength or insubordination. What happens next will unfold in closed rooms, in phone calls, in decisions that don't include him. And Jackie Chan knows one thing for certain. When a room goes silent like that, it's never over. The 10 minutes stretch longer than anyone expects. People hover near equipment without touching it. Assistants pretend to check call sheets that no longer matter. No one quite knows what happens after a moment like that. Because moments like that don't end scenes. They start reputations. The director retreats into a temporary office with the producer. The door closes. Voices drop. Decisions are made quietly the way power prefers. Jackie waits outside. Not pacing. Not checking his phone. Just standing. He's done this before. Made a choice that couldn't be undone. He knows the costs won't arrive immediately. Never does. The stunt coordinator joins him. I backed you, he says quietly. Jackie nods. I know. But if they replace you? The coordinator trails off. Jackie finishes the thought. Then they replace me. There's no bravado in it. Just acceptance. When the director returns, his face is composed but tight. We're redesigning the sequence, he announces. We'll split it into 2 beats. Reinforce the platforms. A ripple of relief moves through the crew. The director looks directly at Jackie. This doesn't happen again, he says. Jackie meets his eyes. It won't need to, he replies. Filming resumes later that day, slower and quieter. The scene still works. Not exactly as imagined, but it works. What doesn't resonate is the old dynamic. The director doesn't joke as much. He consults more. The crew listens differently now, not because Jackie forced them to, but because they saw someone refuse when it would have been easier to comply. That night, the calls begin. Studio executives. Financiers. People who weren't on the warehouse floor but felt the tremor anyway. They ask questions. Why was the set shut down? Who made the call? Is Jackie difficult? The word travels fast. The producer answers carefully. He stopped a risky setup, he says. Was it necessary? There's a pause. Yes, the producer says. It was. Jackie hears about the calls days later. He doesn't ask for details. He knows how these things work. The film finishes on schedule. Barely. The director never apologizes. Jackie never asks for one. They work together professionally until the final day. No quotums. No hostility. Just respect earned the hard way. Years later, the director gives an interview. He's older now. More measured. He's asked about working with Jackie Chan. There's a pause. Then he says, "He taught me that momentum means nothing if you lose your people." The interviewer doesn't follow up. But Jackie hears about it anyway. Behind the scenes, the story spreads. Not loudly. Not as gossip. As reference. When a stunt looks rushed, someone says, "Remember Shanghai?" When a young director pushes too hard, a coordinator hesitates, then speaks up. Because someone once did. Jackie is asked about the incident once. Only once. In a quiet conversation years later. "Did you think you'd be fired?" Someone asks. Jackie smiles faintly. "Yes," he says. "Then why do it?" Jackie considers the question carefully. "Because if I didn't," he says, "I would have fired myself." Looking back, the moment isn't remembered for conflict. It's remembered for stillness. For a room full of people realizing that speed isn't leadership. That authority isn't volume. That silence can carry weight. Jackie Chan didn't challenge a director to prove a point. He challenged him to prevent a consequence. The room went silent not because of ego, but because everyone recognized the line that had just been drawn. And once you see that line, you can't pretend it isn't there. Years later, a young stunt performer asks Jackie something quietly, almost hesitantly. "Is there a moment you wish you could redo?" Jackie thinks longer than the question expects. "There are many," he says. "But not that one." The young man looks surprised. "You almost lost the job." Jackie nods. "Yes." "You could have kept quiet." Jackie smiles faintly. "Yes." The young man waits. Jackie continues. "But then I would have taught everyone something worse." He explains it slowly. On a film set, people learn by watching what the most powerful person tolerates. They learn when silence means approval. They learn when speed matters more than safety. And once those lessons are absorbed, they don't disappear when the cameras stop rolling. They follow people home. Into the next project. Into the next decision. That day, Jackie says, was not about me saying no. It was about showing them they were allowed to. The young man nods, understanding settling in late. Long after the film fades from memory, the warehouse in Shanghai is torn down. New buildings rise in its place. No plaque marks what happened there. No record exists on paper. But the effect remains. In the pause before risky decisions. In the second look at unstable ground. In the courage it takes to slow everything down when everyone else wants to move faster. Jackie Chan never talks about that day publicly. He doesn't need to. Because the people who were in that room still remember the silence. And sometimes that's enough to keep someone alive.